Hello everyone, welcome to Students Point. This is 19th of July and today we have to see 9 selected questions along with some additional facts at the end. So be attentive and be focused till the end. And if you are finding my videos useful, don't forget to like the video and share the video with your friends and loved ones. Also don't forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon so that you receive all the notification at the earliest and never miss any opportunity to learn and grow every day. Let's begin. But first we have to answer one question in the comment section. The question is, which two among the following are part of Chabahar Port? These are the options. Chabahar Port is continuously in news. Read the options very carefully as the options are very much confusing. In examinations you might get easily confused. So read the options, then answer that which of the two out of these four options are part of Chabahar Port. And the previous day question was how many standard units are there. So there are 7 standard units, and from these 7 standard units other units are derived. So these 7 are distance, mass, time, current, amount of substance, temperature and luminous intensity. The SI unit of these 7 standard units are: for distance the SI unit is meter, for mass it is kg, for time it is second, for current it is ampere, for amount of substance it is represented in mole, and for temperature it is Kelvin, not Celsius. In temperature many aspirants confuse that it could be Celsius, but it is actually Kelvin and not Celsius. For luminous intensity it is candela. And General Conference on Weights and Measures is the highest international body of the world for accurate and precise measurements. This is the body which defines the measurement criteria of each these 7 standard units. Let's begin. Now the first question, river Kadambrayar is located in, so this river is located in the state of Kerala. So here D is the right answer for it. And the river is polluted by Brahmapuram dump site. This Brahmapuram dump site was in news because National Green Tribunal has issued an order pertaining to case of Legacy West piling up at Kochi Corporation's Brahmapuram dump site. Next question now, who is the ex officio chairman of Indian Council of World Affairs? This question is very important for you, so be attentive. Who is the ex officio chairman of Indian Council of World Affairs? So it is Vice President of India. Here C is the right answer. Vice President is ex officio chairman of this body, while Minister of External Affairs is the Vice President of this body. This body was established in the year of 1943 and it was declared as an institution of national importance in the year of 2001. And it is also a member of United Nations Academic Impact. The body was in news because India and Russia has held a virtual meeting on Indo-Russia relations in context of global pandemic global order, and they have agreed for joint projects in Asia and Africa. And let me tell you in brief about the monthly kind of test series. Many of you has already enrolled, but those who are aspiring to still wish to enroll yourself in the month of July. And for the next month, the admission for the next month has started from now on. And for the month of July, all the tests except for the test of economy has already been uploaded. So the test for economy will be uploaded today or day after today. And for the next month, let me remind you once again that the test will be organized in 7 subjects. It will be organized in 7 subjects, which are for polity, economy, international news, science and technology, environment, history and culture, and then rest topics will be covered in miscellaneous. All these questions will be of high importance for your examination. Each question would be based on the patterns of previous year's questions of different examinations, including UPSC prelims examinations, civil services prelims examination particularly, then PCS prelims examinations, state level examinations and others. So by taking and looking at the questions, you will automatically realize the importance of questions because it will be completely based on your examination questions. And questions which I will include in this monthly kind of test series will be particularly those questions which has the highest probability of being asked in any government examinations. So every questions is important for you. You have to take those questions as a guess questions. And there are 3 subscription plan for this monthly kind of test series. The first one is for 1 month, which costs ₹79. The second one is for 3 months, which costs ₹219. The third one is for 6 months, which will cost you only ₹420. Those who wish to subscribe yourself can enroll by tapping on the link which I will provide in the comment section at the top. That comment will be pinned. Tap on that link and subscribe to either of the plan of your own choice. The link will also be provided in the description box. I have created 3 premium groups on the Telegram channel, and each group is for different types of subscribers, but many of you who are unable to join the Telegram group because of some reasons, some because belonging to Jammu and Kashmir and because of issues of net and not working of some sites, I will publish all the tests on the website and will communicate with you for those who are unable to join the group, and you can directly download all the tests from there, and rest will get all the tests on the Telegram itself. The next question now. The first UN Mandela Day was held in which year? So it was 2010 when the first UN Nelson Mandela Day was observed. It is observed each year on 18th of July. The day is a global call to action that celebrates the idea that each individual has the power to transform the world and the ability to make an impact. Also, United Nations has recognized the period from 2019 to 2028 as the National Mandela Decade of Peace. Nelson Mandela, who lived during 1918 till 2013, was a South African anti-apartheid revolutionary who served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. He was the country's first black head of a state and first elected in a fully representative democratic election in South Africa. He also served as Secretary General of Non-Alignment Movement from 1998 to 1999. He was awarded as Bharat Ratna in the year of 1990 and Nobel Peace Prize in the year of 1993. So India realized his contributions much before the world realized. Next question now. Consider the following statements about Nelson Mandela Prize 2020. Let's see. It recognized the achievements of those who dedicate their lives to the service of humanity as guided by UN principles, while honoring Mandela's legacy of reconciliation, political transition, and social transformation. This statement is absolutely correct. And only the serving members of any organization of United Nations system shall be eligible for the prize. This statement is wrong. See, in fact, all the serving members of United Nations system are not eligible to get this Nelson Mandela Prize. So this statement is completely wrong. Only first is correct here. So B is the right answer. And this award is also referred to as United Nations Nelson Roli Halla Halla Mandela Prize. It is awarded after a gap of 5 years. For the first time it was awarded in the year of 2015, and now it is being awarded in the year of 2020 to 2 different personalities. They are Mariana Vardiyanis of Greece and Dr. Marizona Coet of Guinea. And Miss Vardiyanis is a lady. She is the founder and president of 2 foundations dedicated to children. These are Mariana V. Vardiyanis Foundation and Alpida Friends Association of Children with Cancer. While Dr. Coet is leading figure in efforts to end violence against women in Africa, including female genital mutilation. Next question now. Medicab, a portable hospital, has been developed by. So this hospital has been developed by IIT Madras. So here D is the right answer. And it can be used to screen, isolate and treat COVID-19 patients even in remote locations, and it can be installed anywhere within 2 hours just by 4 people. So it is just like a room. It can be folded very easily and can be taken to any other place, and it can be easily set up at any place only by 4 people just within 2 hours. Next question now. Consider the following statements about 5G or 5th generation. Let's see. You must be hearing the news about 5G that the world is taking actions against Chinese company, particularly Huawei, which is the largest 5G company of China, and it is spreading its tentacles throughout the world. But the world government are starting taking steps against that company. So let's see what is it. It is the latest upgrade in the long-term evolution, in short called as LTE, mobile broadband networks with ultra-low latency, that is between 1 to 10 milliseconds. This statement is correct. So it is particularly categorized by its ultra-low latency, that is 1 to 10 milliseconds. What is latency? It signifies the speed with which it connects to a network, and it uses beam tracking to follow all devices on the network to ensure consistent connection in real time for the device. This statement is also correct. And 5G network are very essential for running high speed trains for several other data related issues. So here both of the statements are correct. C is the right answer. While latency for 4G network across the world is at average of 50 milliseconds. However, there are many concerns for the introduction of 5G in India. For instance, in India, we still are not utilizing the optimum speed of 4G in different parts of the world. We have also infrastructure issue. We have lack of investments in telecom sector. Our telecom sector are responsible for large amount of non-profit assets for the banking sector. And so there are several constraints in introduction of 5G technology in India. So should India not introduce 5G technology now? No, we can't do that. We have to run together with the world. We cannot remain aloof from the modern technology. But yes, it is true that we have to work on the weaknesses and we have to improve those disadvantages which we are facing at now, so that we can utilize the 5G technology at the optimum level for the development of mankind. Next question now. Consider the following statements about current Indian scenario of COVID-19 in India. Let's see. India has third highest incidence in the world with more than 10 lakh cases. This statement is correct. India is ranked at number 42nd in terms of recovery rate, which is about 63%. See, even with such a high rate of recovery, India is still ranked at 42nd. This shows that many countries other than India have much higher recovery rate, and India also has the third highest recoveries at 6,44,000 after US and Brazil. So in terms of number, we have high recovery rate because we have already number of patients crossed by 1 million, that is 10 lakh, and out of this, even if 63% is the recovery rate, so it automatically reaches to this figure. But still India in terms of percentage ranks 42nd, while in terms of number of patients it has reached to more than 1 million and its rank is third in the world. The highest leading or the leading country in terms of number of incidents is United States. So here both of the statements are correct, so C is the right answer. And recently Prime Minister has addressed United Nations Economic and Social Council high-level dialogue on the subject matter of multilateralism after COVID-19 and what kind of United Nations do we need at the 75th anniversary. The United Nations will celebrate its 75th anniversary on 24th of October 2020. Few days back we have also seen a question that 5 countries plus India has rejected a draft resolution which was filed in United Nations General Assembly for the adoption of the theme for celebration of 75th anniversary, because that theme contained some of the words which were very familiar to the Chinese foreign policy. Next question now. Global Multidimensional Poverty Index 2020 is released by, so it is released by UNDP, United Nations Development Programme, in association with Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. It is based on the idea that poverty is not unidimensional. It is rather multidimensional, and poverty should not be measured only in terms of economic aspects. It can also be in other aspects like lack of education, lack of health, because see, even if a person has or even if a person is wealthy but he is not educated, then that person might not be able to utilize his wealth in proper manner and might lose his wealth very soon than a person who is well educated, well healthy. He can utilize his wealth in a much proper manner. So poverty is a multidimensional aspect and it should not be looked as only unidimensional or single dimensional, and it uses 3 dimensions and 10 indicators to measure the poverty. What are those? These are education, health and standard of living. In education, this index measures year of schooling and child enrollment. Each these aspects or indicators have 1/6 weightage. Thus, the total weightage to education is 2/6. While the health, in which the indicators are child mortality, nutrition, each having the weightage of 1 by 6. So 1 by 6 but 1 by 6, if we add it, then again it reaches to 2 by 6. So the weightage to health sector is again 2 by 6. While the third dimension in this index includes indicators like electricity, flooring, drinking water, sanitation, cooking fuel, and assets. So this index looks the availability of electricity, that whether a person has access to electricity or not, floored house or not, drinking water or not, sanitation or not, whether a person has cooking fuel or not, whether he has some assets like bike, cooler, fridge or not. So these are also certain criteria with which this index measures the poverty in multidimensional facets. And all these indicators have equal weightage of 1 by 18. Thus total weightage to a standard of living is also 2 by 6. Thus here we get a clear picture that each of these dimensions has equal weightage, that is of 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, reaches up to total 100% of this index, and each one has different indicators. And if someone is deprived in 1/3 or more than 1/3 of the total weightage indicators, then that person is called as multidimensionally poor. And if a person is deprived in at least 1/5 of the indicators, then that person is called to be in extreme multidimensional poverty stage. I hope you are getting the difference here. Multidimensionally poor is a bit in better position than those who are in extreme multidimensional poverty stage. And some key findings of this report, let's see. 1.3 billion people are still living in multidimensional poverty, and half of the multidimensionally poor people are children under the age of 18. So it is quite unfortunate. And about 84.3% of multidimensionally poor people live in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. And India has lifted almost 270 million, that is 27 crore people out of multidimensional poverty between 2005-2006 to 2015-16. And if you have not liked the video yet, do like it and share the video with your friends and loved ones. Next question now. Madhu Babu Pension Yojana is a scheme of, so it is a scheme of state of Odisha. So here A is the right answer. And under this scheme, 5,000 transgender are eligible to receive rupees 500, rupees 700 and rupees 900 per month as pension. And the women who are currently fighting divorce cases are also being included in this scheme. And the scheme was launched in the year of 2008 itself. Let's see some more points which are news. India and US has signed a memorandum of understanding to begin discussion on storing petroleum reserves in US. So India will utilize the situation wherein the crude oil prices are quite low. So India is trying to buy crude oil and store it in different parts of the world as well. The Railway Minister Piyush Goyal has announced India's first cable stayed railways bridge, which is called as Anish Khar Bridge, to connect Katra and Riazi in Jammu and Kashmir. So remember this, that Anish Khar Bridge is being launched in Jammu and Kashmir. So do like and share the video, subscribe and press the bell icon. Wait for the upcoming video. Until then, stay safe and thanks for watching.